With the first week of the Battlefield 6 beta now behind us, I can finally dust off my classic coverage for such titles, everyone. What can I say? The franchise has finally returned to its roots seen with Battlefield 3, with heavy inspiration seen with newer titles as well, of course. For once in a lifetime, looks like EA and DICE have finally listened to us and left the reinventing of a wheel a thing of the past. But was this nearly 9 years of waiting worth it? Let's talk about that. Hello everyone, Chris back again with you in Gaming Zone. Can't believe I had to wait a damn decade to finally see a proper Battlefield exist in this new era. For those new here, I'm one of those fellows that didn't enjoy Battlefield 1 due to its very weird approach to game design and overall making the experience less competitive and more casual than past entries. Battlefield V didn't help it because it was basically a sequel to the World War I journey, although embarrassing attempts of political pandering and low amount of content were also an issue. What didn't help the franchise was a straight up pathetic failure that was Battlefield 2042, which I've torn to shreds in my coverage. You can't spell failure without EA. That's how I can basically sum up the whole situation related to the end of Battlefield 2042 support, and also the recent events that happened with this franchise. Even though my displeasure with Battlefield 1 is subjective, I believe most of the player base agrees with me that Battlefield V and 2042 were miserable releases, the latter which nearly buried the franchise as a whole. It really was gloomy around here until, of course, Battlefield 6 was announced, with the course corrections and the studios actually listening to our concerns. If they didn't live in delusions for about 6 years, the series would have avoided such a disaster. But well, what has happened is now history. With that preface now stated, I wanted to round up some of my personal impressions of this official beta for Battlefield 6. Props where props are due, this was the most stable testing build I've ever played for this franchise. Even Battlefield 1 beta had more problems than this one. Before those, I'd like to thank Vince Zampella for bringing us what we've been asking for all of these years, a worthy successor to Battlefield 3 and 4. In the gameplay you can definitely feel the inspiration from these entries. And not only that, just playing it, you can recount many elements as far as Battlefield 2, with the atmosphere of Siege of Cairo being close to the one found in Strike at Karkand. This game feels very in line with the series seen before 2015, and that makes an old-timer just like me very happy. Although I'm not a big fan of the PMC thing, factions being dropped for rogue military alliances, which definitely feels like an element yoinked from Call of Duty. Anyway, let's get a bit more in depth with the content of this beta, as I have a lot on my mind. Finally, maps are no longer empty giant fields found since Battlefield 3 Endgame, them finally featuring proper design, cover and strategic destruction. Gone are the days of running through emptiness and wasting 10 minutes just to reach a control point, and be shot down by someone who randomly spawned in there. These locations had a proper design in their mind, and not the goal of simply being just a beautiful place seen in Battlefield 1. I know some folks will definitely miss this feature, however I don't mind sacrificing Levolution to get debris takedown, just like the good old days. Yes, I know, it's cool to have flooding seen in Flood Zone and taking down that tower in Siege of Shanghai, but those are just the best cases out of this system. Nobody was singing praises to Gulf Oman's Sandstorm, nor did we really enjoy that Lankang Dam destruction. Battlefield 6 destruction has more impact than Battlefield 4, it having a purpose to open up hiding nests for pesky campers, and also debris taking down any unaware enemies as a tactical plan. However, I can't sing too much praises to them. The visibility in this game is just like Battlefield V, it being absolute garbage. Soldiers are either too dark and blend too well with the environment, or are not straight up seen at all in open environments. What doesn't help also is the debris dust that keeps roaming around as if you've thrown a smoke grenade or something. Quite infuriating things at times. And now to the big problem I have with one of the weakest maps in this beta, Iberian Offensive. DICE, you have to improve upon this location, the spawns are absolutely miserable and lead often to instant spawn deaths. I have a feeling this one was heavily inspired on Call of Duty style gameplay, since it's very small and hectic. headquarters being too close to objectives as well. Liberation Peak is not also very good either, with tons of places where you can just climb up and become a useless sack of shit trying to get sniper takedowns. For example, like this meme.
Shut up, pussy.
The meme about infinite glint sometimes is no joke. It can actually be reality at times. Definitely needs more invisible walls on those higher places. Weapons in Battlefield 6 are more similar to Battlefield 2042 than any previous entries in my eyes. I enjoy the gunplay however, even if the TTK is too damn fast at close quarters, getting one frame at the second of meeting an enemy with M4A1. Gun balance definitely needs multiple passes around, as the netcode is not good once more, me dying behind walls to enemies just like Battlefield 3 days now. Now with some more serious gripes I got. Assault is too overpowered, and the gunsling that gives shotgun available as a secondary has to go. Not only that, the shotgun itself is basically a return of A10 Hunter in its full glory, sometimes giving 10 damage, sometimes doing 240 at insane ranges. Once again, gunsling has to go, and the shotgun must be nerfed to proper damage values seen within Battlefield 3. First, a couple of times it's really cool to get takedowns with it, afterwards it gets very annoying to be shot down by it. The M320 that stun locks also has to go, it's trash and only gets in the way of the gameplay. Setting things on fire is one thing, but setting fire and also stun locking is basically a nightmare scenario. Repair tour for engineer repairs way too fast for my liking, and having a gang of 3 dudes always repairing an APC or something is very scary to fight. It basically gives these vehicles infinite health, often leading to very long fights between tanks, sometimes up to 10 minutes. Last but not least, recon tugs must be nerfed as well, as they are too powerful. These things were OP in the beta, as they only generated lights with no audio signals like previous games. Only as a recon yourself you can see them and actually destroy them. If you thought Battlefield V had tin can vehicles, get a load of them in Battlefield 6. They are horrible and simply a death sentence to drive for some reason. I love that they sound like Battlefield 3 and 4, don't get me wrong. However, they are simply miserable in this beta. APCs can be taken down in about 2 RPG shots, tanks in 3, and I'm just silent about helicopters and jets. I have a feeling Lego toys that you have around your house have more durability than these, and it was simply not fun driving them and also using them. The only real chance to be good with these is simply by camping in spots and defeating infantry, or once again just have 3 engineers running with repairs to keep it alive as much as possible. Mobile AA is pathetic this time around. I think it's even worse than Battlefield 2. And that is very bad news. DICE, Ripple Effect, you gotta improve upon those, since it's a very tragic experience. The interface of Battlefield 6 is pretty solid in-game, it reminds me of Battlefield 4 with some sprinkles of the better aspects from 2042. Unlike the previous trash fire, however, things are looking much better. Although I have a big fat rant about the settings menu of it. I'm genuinely tired of overcomplicated menus, and this beta suffered from that. Didn't matter how much I scourged this insanity, I could never find a way to increase the sensitivity of the vehicles. And just like Call of Duty, I have to click tons of times to get to the customization menu for the weapons. Very annoying and completely avoidable situation. I'd like to see these streamlined to the levels of Battlefield 4. I'm not here for the flashy things, I'm here to just quickly change some settings and move on with the gameplay. Another big gripe I have is the 3Dification of the minimap, basically making it useless mid-combat. Once again, DICE, there is no need for flashy stuff. I need the minimap to quickly show the things I need to see and move on with the process. For some reason in Battlefield 6 the minimap is now a 3D thing, and checking it is a menu instead of actually just having a quick 2D picture to show you what's nearby. Not only is it annoying, it also has overlapping bugs, making these weird effects on it. Last but not least, optimization. You might be surprised and fight against me with this one. After all, a GTX 1060 can run this game at 1080p 60fps, which is very impressive for a 2025 title. However, I do not like having my PC running at 100 Celsius simply by being in the main menus. I believe that's either a memory leak, or something very heavy is rendered in the background, leading to these insane temperatures and fan curves. Definitely need some improvement on that part, as it's ridiculous to have a RTX 4090 spewing flames just by being in the main menu. Now with these rants out of my system, this beta was a refreshing experience. It really feels like I'm playing a game closer to older Battlefields. I'm really happy that we are inbound to receive a great return to form, but these technical issues really raise big question marks for me. As of writing this content piece, the first phase of the beta has ended. It left me more worried than assured considering the balancing issues, optimization problems, and overall flawed experience. But, unlike the disaster that was Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 6 beta is in a much better shape, and I believe Battlefield Studios will be able to fix the game before the launch on October 10th. Unfortunately for EA, this first phase didn't sell me the game, but we'll see how the second drop will change my opinions. From what is known, and I hope this is not a lie this time around, the build was pretty old, with big changes dropping in the second phase, similar to the testing seen within Battlefield 3 Alpha and Beta. Anyway, I'm really glad to see Battlefield striving to return to its true form, and not repeating the same old tired story about creating new experiences for players. All I've ever wanted was an experience found in Battlefield 3/4 respectively, but with modern mechanics and graphics. And it really gives me hope that this will turn into reality this fall, as the beta is on par with what I've wanted a really long time. Time will tell us the outcomes, however, as it's too early to judge right now. Let's see what the second phase gives us before the final decision if the game is worth it or not. Since again we've been screwed over 8 years in a row by EA, let's not forget about that. Thank you for watching this upload, everyone. Really happy to see Battlefield return for sure, but definitely a lot to improve before I make the ultimate decision. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, if you didn't, there's a dislike button nearby. If you'd like to see more coverage on Battlefield 6 or check out some other content of mine, don't forget to click the subscribe button. That way my videos will appear in your subscription boxes and be up to date with the stuff I upload on Gaming Zone. Thank you for watching. This was Chris. See you in the Gaming Zone.